Bueno, y antes del café, con estos cambios nos quedó un poco atrasado algo que es súper importante. Vinton Cerf, que es considerado el padre de Internet, siempre nos manda, o viene personalmente o nos manda un saludo. Es muy breve, es un saludo que nos manda especialmente para esta escuela. Y después vamos al cafecito. Y después vamos a recuperar el tiempo. ¿Vemos el video de Vint? Tiene subtítulos en español, igual pueden escuchar la traducción.
Hello, my name is Vince Cerf. I'm Vice President and Chief Internet Evangelist at Google. I'd like to thank Olga Cavalli once again for offering me an opportunity to address the summer school on Internet governance. It's 2024. About 2/3 of the world's population has regular access to the Internet. Another 1/3 may have some access or certainly are affected by other people who have access. We'd like all of them to have the choice of using the Internet and the World Wide Web. So we have work to do. Physical infrastructure is required, but we need to knock down the cost of the devices that are used to access the Internet or that are used to implement the Internet. But perhaps even more important, we have to teach people how to use the Internet safely, and we need to develop safer technology for people around the world. One thing is very clear. The Internet is an amplifier of information. It's capable of replicating and distributing content at very high speeds and over large territory. This is especially true with the social media that many of us are familiar with. The problem with this amplification, of course, is that it amplifies everything, including misinformation, disinformation, malware, and ransomware, and all the other kinds of abuses that have become sadly familiar in this online environment. So safety has become a very high priority, and I would say that this is broader than just security. It's one thing to make sure that the computers can't be invaded and taken over and abused, but safety is a bigger thing than that. It's keeping people safe. It's keeping their feelings protected. It's making sure that their bank accounts haven't been invaded or their personal information hasn't been taken without their permission. So there's a lot more to safety than just security. Some of it comes about from training, teaching people how to use the Internet in a safe way. Not too different from teaching teenagers how to drive and making sure we test them to understand whether they know how to drive safely, on the presumption that not everybody else does. And we make them do that before we give them the keys to the car and a license to drive. So maybe we need an Internet driver's license or something like it to help people both be and feel safer online. We also need to establish international agreements to hold parties accountable who are misbehaving in the network, and that's going to require a considerable amount of work. Already, as I speak, there is a cybercrime treaty being negotiated, which, if multiple nations agree to it, will help us track down parties who should be held accountable for their bad behavior. So there's still plenty of work to be done in terms of making the network a safer place, but there's also plenty of opportunity to make the network useful for everyone. As we see the influence of artificial intelligence and machine learning, I think we can appreciate that there are very powerful ways of using computer-based technologies in order to increase the results of our research, in order to provide medical care on a remote basis, or advice and diagnosis, as well as treatment. I think we see economic gains, people inventing new businesses, new applications that can be undertaken in this online environment, increase in trade on a global scale, production of software for people around the world. This is the promise of the Internet, that it can become a very large economic engine for everyone. Not only that, of course, it also becomes a huge reservoir of useful content it also is a reservoir for not so useful content, and we have to learn how to distinguish between the two and filter them out. So there's no end of work for you to consider as you work with each other in the summer school on internet governance. And I hope that as you work your way through some of these very difficult problems, that you'll share some of your ideas with the rest of us. Meanwhile, maybe we'll cross paths on the net.
Y ahora sí, al café.